Yeah, that's what they were doing. They were getting it on in the National Football League today. Two outstanding playoff games. Both went into overtime. And here to discuss with me the road to the Super Bowl, my partner, graduate of Gwen Park, has his own band called Cortland Experiment. I would like to welcome to the Legends of Inside Sports, Mr. Chris Johnson. How you doing, Chris? Uh-oh, I think I might have lost Chris. Let me see what I done here. Chris, can you hear me? Uh-oh, something's wrong.
It's just hearing you.
Okay, can you hear me? All right. You okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay, once again, I got my partner, Chris Johnson, on the other line. And we're going to be talking about this road to the Super Bowl. Chris, what do you think about these two games today? Very exciting games, all the way down to the wire. Let's start with the first game. Tell me what you think about L.A. going to the Super Bowl for the first time, beating New Orleans in New Orleans. What do you think about that outcome?
I think it's a surprising outcome. I had New Orleans in this game because they're just so strong at home, and Drew Brees has just been so dominant. But at the same time, the Rams are star-studded, especially on the defensive end of the ball. But I think this game's definitely going to come down to that very, very questionable missed pass interference call late in the game that really, really, really helped the Rams pull that thing out.
Yeah. Well, I think you said it before we went on air. There were some questionable calls, man, in both of these games all around, man. I know that was had to be a tough loss for New Orleans at home, um, in the L.A. Rams going on the road to beat them. So now we're talking about New England just beating Kansas City in overtime. And outstanding football, offensive football from both teams. Of course, Mahomes had a terrible first half. Came back. I think what the score was like. What was the score at halftime, Chris?
I believe it was tied at the half.
Now I think they only had 3 points. I think Kansas City had only 3 points. And
Matter of fact, no, they had nothing at the half. It was 14 nothing at the half when
okay,
Kansas City woke up in the second half.
Okay, yeah. Well, they came back from 14 points down. I thought it was a great game. It looked like definitely was gonna go to the team that had the ball last, and that is exactly what happened. When New England won the toss, they won the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you have the edge of experience from the quarterback position. I mean, Mahomes is definitely a bright future of the league, but Tom Brady's just got so much of that ice cold playoff experience.
Yeah.
There's no substitute for that. And also, I mean, I can't again we go back to the bad officiating, but that pass, that roughing the passer call where the guy didn't even graze Tom Brady's helmet. It's
No.
one of the worst roughing the passer calls I've ever seen in my life.
Well, they gave the referee or whoever made the call the benefit of the doubt. Say he was looking from a wrong angle. Well, if you're looking for a wrong angle, the call should have never been made because all the player did was hit him on his shoulder. Never touched his helmet. Bad call. And then also another a bad mistake from Kansas City. A guy lines up in the neutral zone
Yeah.
and is called offside on an interception that would have ended the game, man. He's offside, man. How can you get this far, man, and be offside, be in the neutral zone, not jumping offside? You in the neutral zone before the ball is hiked. I thought that was the bonehead play of the whole
No,
game.
most definitely. Like you just can't make a mental error at that point. That's the type of stuff that gets you on the bench, and you don't usually have those guys out there who make those type of mistakes in that position. And because of just that, you could have a catastrophe and just the worst time.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris, we get ready to head into the Super Bowl, and it looks like it's the Plantation Bowl all over again. We talking about going to the Super Bowl where there's no black ownership, no black coaches, no black quarterbacks. And here, this is 2019, man. I want you to listen to my man Dale Hansen, the television sportscaster, white guy, talking about uh, the unfair hiring of no black coaches, man, no black head coaches. I mean, in the National Football League, you got two black head coaches. The Rooney Rule is a joke, and I think my man Chris Hansen says that. Listen to this.
Been a lot of criticism of the Arizona Cardinals hiring Cliff Kingsbury as their new coach. Even my guys Mike and Jonah have been questioning that hire. But Kingsbury fits all the criteria to be a head coach in the NFL. He's an offensive genius, he's young, and he's white. And not necessarily in that order. There have been 6 new coaches hired so far, all white, and 2 coaches of color they are replacing. Stephen Wilkes, fired in Arizona after just 1 year. Vance Joseph in Denver after just 2. But Cowboys coach Jason Garrett is in his 9th year, apparently because he wins so much. A lot of people don't understand how Kingsbury can have a losing record at Texas Tech, no NFL experience, and get one of the 32 NFL jobs. But getting fired at Tech doesn't eliminate him from moving up. At least it doesn't to me. I've had 11 jobs in my life, been fired from 8 of them, and moved up every time. And I am arrogant enough to tell you, I think Channel 8 was right to give me another chance. But I am the product of white privilege in America, and I've never denied that I wasn't either. If they made a poster, my picture should be on it. Getting fired at one place and getting another chance isn't the problem. But young, talented coaches of color not getting the chance, that's a huge problem. The covert racism of the NFL ownership group was so bad, the NFL had to make a rule so that minority coaches could at least get an interview. Cowboys secondary coach Chris Richard has been interviewed, and there are reports saying he might get the Miami job. After what he's done with this Cowboys defense, how could he not? Unless it is true, what black parents have been telling their children for decades now. You have to be twice as good to go half as far. I dream of the day when those parents are wrong, because now they're not.
Well,
Been a lot of
Chris, is
criticism of the
we have that makes a lot of sense because when they're always saying that why you guys play the race card all the time. Now here's a white guy saying that he's the benefactor of white privilege, and that is what is happening, man. We keep looking around and keep making excuses, allowing folks to get over us. We don't. Those of us who don't stand for anything, we will fall. Those of us who don't stand for something will fall for just anything. And that's what's been happening, man, in professional sports with us. I mean, we're looking at 8 coaches. Now we're down to 2 head coaches in the NFL, heading back to the Super Bowl again. And I don't understand, when are we gonna stand for something, Chris?
Like I said, I feel like back when we talked about the entire season, like the protest was a good chance to make a stand, not just for the police brutality aspect and the criminal justice reform, but also the racist policies of the NFL. And like I said, you articulated and Dale Hansen as well. Like I feel like the NFL is okay with you excelling, but only in certain positions if you're black. Like they don't want too many black quarterbacks or coaches, or they don't want any black owners. But like if you're a wide receiver or a lineman or someone playing the most dangerous positions like linebacker, they're fine with you doing that. They want you to, but in certain positions, there's just blatant racism all across NFL. Like, and it's bad. But just looking at the email you sent earlier, until you see it laid out in front of you in year 2018, 2019 season, it's ridiculous. And the Rooney Rule is a joke. The fact that you have to have a Rooney Rule is a joke
That's
in the
right.
first place.
Chris, I look around, man, and I see the sacrifices that have been made by professional athletes, man, like John Carlos and Tommy Smith. You see the sacrifices made by Paul Rosen, Jack Johnson. I mean, guys who I mean, just it's just the who sacrificed their lives, man, and we look around and we got absolutely nothing, man. We don't own anything, man. You know, when it comes to radio, television, we don't control what goes on the air, what is said about us. So I don't know exactly, where are we going to be looking when we say, you look around and we go to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is there once again, and you got guys like LeBron James talking about white owners owning plantations and all of a sudden he called himself speaking out, don't have a clue to what he's talking about, don't really know the history, and then he used a money referral referring to Jews, and he ended up have to eat his word and have to apologize. But this young man here, he says this is what we should tell our sons when our sons come to us and tell us that they want to play in the NFL. I want you to listen to this and tell me what you're hearing here.
What I tell my son when he says he wants to play for the NFL, we are done with field work. They are too comfortable shooting down the idea of blacks passing from bullets than throwing bullet passes. Nah. Hell, if it's $1 million deal, they want Emmett Smith but treat you like Emmett Till. They like their teams divided. Not even Johnny can unite us. They like their black shackled, tackled, concussed, like you ACL tear, but don't drop to your knees. You can kneel for the play, but play with the flag. They throw a flag on the play. Tell you can't play. But this ain't no game to you. $9 million a year ain't change to you, but that contract is them handing chains to you. They're stealers of rights who will forgive a fumble but penalize you for holding on to your blackness. You ever wonder how the country fell in love with a sport where the black men hit each other like Mandingo fighting? The whole thing is a slave ritual. Thought our people found freedom when we ran, but now they got you running back. Got you tossing pigskins like bales of cotton, zigzag, shuck and jive, Bojacks and Bojangles. You looking at this game from the wrong angle. They could never understand your anger when they know shotgun is a play and you know it as a threat. When you know boys who stepped to the police and met their defensive end, they will deny their involvement when your brain is scrambled. Imagine blacks thinking they found heaven, then under a helmet is where you and hell met. But then they'll say, why you all mad? You all mad. Didn't Super Bowl 2018 teach you the only way you'll beat patriotism is if you're willing to lose to their evil or ego? Why you want to play for them? America ain't no team player. New Orleans didn't see no Saints during Katrina. In Detroit, they lie into the people. Because you can't get a win when you're the Browns. Whether in Cleveland or LA, they'll charge us wherever we touch down. When you know your blood is royal, bleeding purple, they'll ask what you're raving about. You get to speaking like a panther, you'll see Hawks, and in Oakland, they'll be raiding your house. See the racists rolling Colts. So giant, you Tennessee Titans bolt for their powers. Like your revolution is a cardinal sin. These cowboys will always pack us in coffins. And you can't say nothing, no matter how many dead children Chicago bears. But because you my son, you too falcon to have your wings clipped. You'll buck when they buccaneer, meaning the lies they'll try to pirate your rights with, you'll fight with. They'll say slavery and genocide you must forget, but always remember when New York got hit with the Jets. And then they'll tell you that you ain't no team player. Tell them the team you play for has red skin because you've been washing tons of blood and it won't come off. My niggas so fly, we should win an ESPY off of lynchings alone. No, son. If they don't respect your struggle, they don't get your muscle, child. You are black. You don't need their field. You're going to be running your whole life.
Wow. Wow. What do you think about that, Chris? He said America is no team player.
It's not. And I think this brings back to the whole spirit again to the protest because I think it brought to light and opened some things up that you can't put back in the bag in terms of the public consciousness. And I think it was moving in that direction anyway of like football is, we're seeing kind of how the sausage is made behind the scenes and it's a lot more racist and ugly and greed fueled than we maybe initially believed because of the aspects of the game that we love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the camaraderie, the brotherhood, just the strategy. The great aspects of the game, I feel like, are starting to be marred by the corrupt aspects of the NFL and the business aspects and the racial overtones that the league has always had. It's not like this is new. These are not new
That's
things that are
right.
coming to light.
That's
But I
right.
think in the public consciousness, that conversation is now more in the forefront.
Hmm. It's really a sad state that we're in now because of so many uh, divisive measures going on, not only between blacks and white, between Republicans and Democrats. And I just don't understand, man. Is how is it that we can come to a point in our lives where we have success, but we don't reach back to help anyone else? And I found out that speaking from where I come from, I mean, I jumped the moon. There's no doubt about that. But how can you ever forget, man, who you are when you where you came from? You come up in a housing project, you come up with nothing, and you have some success, and you don't reach back and pull someone else. I think with you, I think what I've seen is that we don't not know how to deal with success. We let success handle us. We don't handle success, Chris. Like there are a lot of people now bitching about Gladys Knight singing the national anthem. Of course, I want to get it from a person's point of view. What do you think about Gladys Knight singing the national anthem at the Super Bowl?
I think it's similar to the younger person's perspective. Like Gladys Knight's on the national anthem, and there's a big hip hop artist, Travis Scott, who a lot of young people, including myself, like a lot. And he's on the Super Bowl halftime show, and it's a similar controversy as the things going on with the NFL and these black artists, using that platform. And I'm kind of mixed on it. Not really mixed. Morally, I'm pretty against the NFL, pretty much all they're standing for, and how they doubled down on the racist aspect this year. Whether it's all Trump related or not, like the stuff was already there, but I feel like they double down more on like blackballing Kaepernick outright and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an interesting issue because as a musician, I understand wanting to have that platform and
Right.
wanting to not be directly involved in the politics, and you just seeing it as a gig as a platform to your music. So I feel like it really depends on the type of artist you are. Travis Scott for the younger generation he's not like a Kendrick Lamar, like a conscious artist who is talking about social issues and stuff. So I understand why he would do it even though I don't agree with it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And similar to Gladys Knight, I don't know how involved politically she is or aware of like the issues or exactly what's going on with the intricacies of what's going down with the NFL right now and why I feel like it's losing some of its popularity. And I think the sport's really in danger in the future of just becoming extinct in the far future and maybe even near future because of safety and because of all the issues that we've been bringing up.
mm-hmm. Well, let me give you a little background on Gladys Knight. Gladys Knight has been in the civil rights movement forever. She's been out there in the war zone, not on the fringes of the war zone, in the war zone, plus putting her money where her mouth was to support those in the civil rights movement. So now Gladys Knight's hometown is Atlanta. Gladys Knight is not out there like she used to be. And I can forgive her for singing the national anthem at the Super Bowl because this is an opportunity and platform for her to showcase who she is, who she really is, and that she's still around in your own hometown. So I applaud her. I don't knock her. She understands exactly about Colin Kaepernick. She understands about the players not taking a stand. I know she understands all that. So it's not like that she is not aware of what's going on around her. She has paid her dues. Now, if she wants to go to the Super Bowl and sing the national anthem in her hometown, I'd say kudos to her. Hooray for Gladys Knight. Because, like I said, she has paid her dues, and those folks who are out there talking about giving her the blues, about singing the national anthem, they have no idea about their history, no idea of who has been out there working in the war zone. So that's why I feel I don't have no problem with Gladys Knight doing the national anthem at the Super Bowl. She's just one person, and of course, like I said, that's her hometown, Atlanta. Chris, what I want to do now, I want to I want to take time out. I want you. I think I got this thing queued up right. I want you to listen to LeBron James and talking to some of his boys in the barbershop, talking about racism in the NFL. Let's see. We'll see if I got this thing queued up right.
I mean, in the NFL, they got a bunch of old white men owning teams, and they got that slave mentality, and it's like, this is my team. You do what I tell y'all to do, or we get rid of y'all. Like, I mean, I'm so appreciative of in our league, of our commissioner. Like, you know, he works with the players, man. Yeah, and he doesn't mind like us having the feeling, like the truth, like to be able to actually have a real feeling, to be able to express that. It doesn't even matter if Adam agree what we're saying. He at least want to hear us out.
If you want the starkest proof that we live under white supremacy, that we are existing under racial tyranny, you need look no further than the cherry-picked Negroes who white supremacy chooses to elevate. They want to pick who the winners are, even though they're only winners in relative terms and only for a set amount of time. This is what we see from the entertainers, whether they be comedians, actors, or athletes who are nothing more than sports entertainment. White supremacy knows exactly what they're doing whenever they pick one of these chumps. They know a Negro who is ripe for a fall, who all they have to do is to wave a couple of dollars under their nose, or wave a white man or white woman under their nose, and here we go. They can tell a Negro who's just waiting to sell out. And they're very careful about that. They've gotten it down to a science. A lot of black folks who some of you might have thought of as being halfway stand-up guys or stand-up women, next thing you know, white supremacy applies the pressure, and they become obedient little Negroes, bowing and scraping, shuffling and scratching. The last few days, we've had a couple of $40 million slaves drift to the news cycle. LeBron James has suddenly figured out that the National Football League is run by a bunch of racist old white men who treat the black football players like slaves. Apparently, this is some sort of revelation to him. He didn't understand that that's exactly the kind of structure upon which professional sports is built. LeBron, I hate to break it to you, but the NBA is the exact same type of sports plantation as the NFL. After all, it was Donald Sterling, the former basketball owner of the Los Angeles Clippers franchise, who got caught venting his racist bile and talking about the black basketball players who made him wealthy as though they were just a bunch of field hands.
All right, Chris. Chris, it's something that when we don't know our history, we don't do our homework. LeBron James will go on HBO with this platform and talk about the racist old white men with the plantation mentality in the NFL. But how can he forget Donald Sterling when that was all over the place? How can you forget that when you look around and you look and see how many black head coaches there are in the NBA? I think we're down to 3 now, Chris, out of 30 teams. We're down to 3, man. So we got one owner, and that's debatable. And Michael Jordan, he's black. A lot of people debate that. But we look around. Don't talk, out. This don't say anything off the top of your head. You are the chosen one, LeBron James. Now that you made that statement, and then you included the Jews off some rap song you heard talking about the Jewish money, you've had to come back and eat your words and apologize. So you got to be careful, man, of who we listen to, man. It's not only in the NFL, in the NBA, it's professional sports, period. We got in the National Hockey League. You know how many black owners we got? None. You know how many black head coaches we got in the National Hockey League? None. You know how many black players we got? You could count them on one hand, and you can eliminate the thumb of black players in the National Hockey League. Major League Baseball, I think we have no black ownership. Two black managers and black players with Jackie Robinson giving up his life. This man died at age 52, much too young. He gave up his life. He kicked down the door for black folks. Black Americans in Major League Baseball today, Chris, is under 10%. Under 10%. So my thing is, we get ready to go into Black History, and I'm trying to figure out what we're celebrating. We have made no progress whatsoever, and we got guys out there on CBS, uh, ESPN, HBO, don't have a clue about their history. And you listen to Charles Barkley, he'll tell you. I like it because he's honest. He's honest. He said, I see history, I see racism every day in America. I see racism is there. So when you got folks talking about, man, why are you guys playing the race card and get over it? I think, we're way off base. Okay, Chris, you got it.
Yeah, like I said, I think for the LeBron issue, as I said before, I think LeBron's heart is in the right place when he makes statements, but he's not articulate when he's trying to explain things. Like you said, maybe not well thought and worded, not carefully worded, which then causes problems. But in terms of him saying, yeah, that the NBA is not racist, like, again, you're right. It's levels to it. It might not be as racist, but the whole structure is built the same way. And I think his illusion of it not being as racist is only because of one cultural reason that blacks are more prevalent and more influential in the NBA game because of sneaker culture, Michael Jordan selling jerseys and what it is to the inner city culture. But at the same time, there's just less players in basketball, so each player is more valuable to the owner. LeBron James to chase the whole economy of the city of Cleveland. So the owner is going to value a LeBron James more than a quarterback, when they have 53 people on their team, which they're literally more expendable in their eyes. This is just business. It's
Mm-hmm.
business on each other. All these owners, NBA, NFL, like you said, MLB, this is a business to them. They see the players as their assets, their commodities. So of course the NBA will see them as more as people because they're literally as a business model more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 12, 13 people on your team.
Right. Chris, he kind of slipped up in that HBO thing. He said that he's thankful that Adam Silver, the commissioner, lets them. Come on, man. What you talking about? You're a grown man. You're making millions of dollars, and somebody has to let you express yourself. He tried to backtrack, but it was too late. But it just shows you. It just shows you that these guys are not prepared, man, to think that they can go on these platforms and explain exactly what's going down, the politics that's going on all around us, man. I think, man, we got, like I said, we got Black History Month coming up, man, and of course, one of my favorite people is Muhammad Ali. And I think about the sacrifices that he made, how he stood up. Everybody loves Muhammad Ali. He's loved all over the world, and I'm just so blessed that I came along when two of the most what do you say, controversial uh, personalities in America that befriended me and looked out for me, and that's Muhammad Ali and President Richard Nixon. So when you've been to the mountaintop and sit on the mountaintop with Muhammad Ali, Chris, everybody else is secondary, man.
Yeah,
You know.
that's the legend. That's the legend of any sport, like a cultural icon.
Right. I just, then I'm looking behind me and I see my homeboy, Marvin Gaye, and the sacrifices that he made too, man. He went up against Berry Gordy and said, I want to do my music. I want to do some message music. And of course, he was in a good spot because he had married Berry Gordy's sister. But Marvin stood up, man, and of course, we know the classic, What's Going On, how that is still today. Marvin released that classic in 1972 on May 21st. I never forget it because May 21st was my birthday. And Marvin has always been one of my favorite people. He's a DC boy, but I think about the sacrifices that he made. I'm looking at my brother, who's a DC cop, who stood up against the thin blue line and the code of silence, man. And a lot of people, man, gave their lives for us, man. And still here we are in 2019, where the number one theme song in America is that we shall overcome. We shall overcome, Chris. So I just, my thing is that I want to see young folks like yourself take over. And I hate to see what I saw down on the mall, man, this past weekend, where these young white kids, man, just just disrespected a native Indian who fought in the Vietnam War. And what he was trying to do, when he told his story, first he was out there and with some black guys, I think about four of them from another religion or whatever, and these white kids started coming around. Then at first there was 10 of them. Then he turned around, it was 20. Then the 20 left and came back with 40. The 40 left and came back with 80, and it just doubled. And he said it looked like they were going to get in some controversy or some fisticuffs with the four black kids. And he stepped in between them and started singing the song. And then you see, of course, they put the cameras on the white kid up in the native Indians' face, man. Total disrespect, man. And I think that is what's happening, man. See, racism, these kids were not born racist, man. Make no mistake about it. They didn't come out of their mother's womb with Ku Klux Klan robes on, using the N word, or selling dope, or with a gun in their hand. This is all taught behavior, man. This is all taught behavior. And it's being taught not only in the homes, it's being taught in the schools. Somebody asked, Chris, where were the teachers? Where were the chaperones when all these kids were about to really get into a fisticuff or have some controversy with the native Indian, all these black kids. So yeah, I think it's a big problem, and I think you guys got an uphill battle ahead of you, Chris.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating to see a scene like that. One, because you also look ridiculous because he's a native and you're chanting build the wall as a native when like the irony is like he should have built a wall. His people back in the day. It's so ridiculous and the fact that they're not like you said, it's taught behavior. Like they didn't come out the womb with those Make America Great hats on, it's so it's really frustrating. And like you said, for our generation who want to see progress, like it's frustrating because it feels like we're going backwards really, really quickly right now. And just the disrespect, like just the disrespect. And I think what was more infuriating to me is the point that you made about the parents. That kid's parent or that kid's mother that was in the native's face made a statement trying to say that those kids were the victims because they were being yelled at because they were wearing their Make America Great Again hats. And it's like, you have to understand, if you're wearing those hats, that's a modern day Klan hood to some people, like, so yeah, like, you're going to probably get some negative reactions, and to try to play the victim when, like I said, the camera's on, you can see the blatant white privilege and disrespect oozing off of him, and just to disrespect an elder, period, is just, it's just disgusting, and the fact that that's what we're going back to, as you said, we have a lot to deal with, and that's why politically I feel like it's very important to really for us to change the old guard now, and some of these out of touch, corrupt people that are just gaming the system and in and out. It has to end. It has to end. It's not a game anymore. That's why I think we're getting to that political revolution where people are getting angry and young people are waking up and they're gonna want to vote. And these 17 and 18-year-olds, when they turn 18, they're going to have a ability to really make change year after year. So it's about grooming that next generation, keeping them educated, and just teaching respect, man. Like I have no words for this, for what I saw there on the mall on that scene.
Yeah, Chris, there might be some light at the end of the tunnel now that I think about it. All these new women coming into politics, man. we we got a hell of a lot of diversity coming in. We got black, white, we got Indians, we got Indian people, folks coming in, taking over these political stations on Capitol Hill, and that may be some hope. Did you hear, Chris? This girl Tamika Mallory. Have you heard of her, Chris?
I'm not sure what is it
Okay,
that.
Tamika Mallory was one of the people that organized the campaign, the march on Washington this weekend. She's a young black girl. I can't think of the name of the organization, but she was on The View with that group Whoopi Goldberg
Yeah.
and several others this past week before she came to Washington to march, and they were on her on The View because she would not condemn Louis Farrakhan. You know, she has done some work, and she still does work with Louis Farrakhan, and she said herself that she does not agree with everything that Louis Farrakhan says or do. Yeah, and she lets him know that. But there was this girl on there, this lady, I think it was Senator McCain's daughter.
Yes, it is. Megan
Yeah,
McCain.
yeah, and this lady was she was shouting her down, man. You know, asking her to condemn Farrakhan, and she refused to condemn Farrakhan because she said, "Well, he's anti-Semitism. You know, he's anti-Semitic. He doesn't like Jews." So she refused, and I was listening to her on Roland Martin. She said one of the things that we got to understand, they always want us to condemn what other black folks are saying. You know, they always want us to condemn the black man or black woman, stand up and say, you you don't stand by what he believes in. And it's a funny thing, man, is that when white folks, when these white supremacists, uh, Donald Trump, I don't hear these folks coming out and condemning, you know, these type of folks, and we all know, man, that we all are in this together. I don't care what color you are, and everyone should be able to have an opinion. And if she wants to work with Louis Farrakhan, and she said she has called Louis Farrakhan out and said that she does not agree, but there are things that Louis Farrakhan does that she does agree with, and that's saving black men and children. So that's why I applaud her. I listened to her. She's very articulate. She was able to express herself and says, hey, she's in it for the long haul and she's not looking for any publicity. This is what she's been doing for the last 20 years. I didn't realize that she'd been out there that long. But I think it makes a sense that we all should not have to apologize for what some other black woman or black woman says. You know, that's their opinion, and everyone should have an opinion. Now, you should be able to say, "Hey, I don't go along with that." I don't go along with the anti-Jewish or anti-Native American, but some people like to bully their way, Chris. Once they get on that television, writing those columns, they think that they are know-it-alls. And I was really look this lady up on Google when we get off the show tonight and see
Okay,
exactly where
yeah,
she's
yeah,
coming from.
most definitely. And on the view, like I have very specific points to make on the view. Actually, I'm glad you brought it up because it actually ties into the point you made earlier about the new women coming into Congress, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and all those great new candidates. The view, Megan McCain, first of all, is one of the privileged, one of the most examples of white privilege.
Right.
John McCain's daughter. That's why you're on the show, and you're just there to be a Republican hat, basically, and just regurgitate Republican talking points to be the conservative on the panel. So that's all I'm gonna say about McCain. She doesn't add a lot of substance to the show, in my opinion. And then Joy Behar is the only reasonable one left, I feel like, on that show. Whoopi Goldberg lately has been awful in her bubble and her finger wagging at the new candidates that have come into Congress, and specifically Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and attacking people like Bernie Sanders and the people that he inspired to run for office, mostly people in our generation. So just the Whoopi, if you ever watch this, ever get to you, like, I don't think you get it. The reason she's saying we should just sit back and learn from the people that already broke the system, like Dianne Feinstein and corrupt senators who have been in the game and taken corporate money forever, and sit down, shut up, and learn. Well, we're not, we're here to make change and make action, and we're here to take over now because we have Donald Trump as president, and like you said, and we talked about this entire show. Look at the progress that we made, and it extends to everything, healthcare, all this stuff, the country. So it's like, no, we're tired of sitting back and watching the same people do the same things. It's not working, and we're here to make a change. So instead of wagging your fingers at people who have new ideas and fresh ideas, maybe let's have a conversation and embrace each other and come to an understanding and use the good experiences that people have and mix it with some new ideas, and let's make some progress moving forward.
All right, Chris. Chris, you got the last word. I wanna get your prediction as we head into the Super Bowl 2 weeks from now. New England is facing look like they're gonna be facing uh, the Rams, man. So what's your pick on that, Chris? Who do you think?
My heart says the Rams, but my brain is thinking we're gonna get Tom Brady in a Super Bowl with the refs and whatever. You know,
Yeah.
Donald Trump's president, and the Patriots. Allegedly, Bill. Those are his guys, and so I'm not
Yeah.
gonna walk the conspiracy train, but in the most white supremacist year we've had in the NFL, it's only fitting that the Patriots win the championship.
Yep. I gotta go along with it. I wanted to see, of course, this kid Mahomes and in the New Orleans Saints. I thought that would have been a great matchup. And I'm sick of the New England Patriots, but I would not bet against them. I would not bet against them. Tom Tom Brady is still the assassin. He is still the assassin, man. With that ball in his hand, the last few seconds or last couple of minutes, man, and the game is on the line. You cannot bet against him, man, because he's proven that he's going. Hey, man, he's cold blooded, man. He's cold blooded. Well, Chris, thanks so much for taking time to be out here on the Legends of Inside Sports. And like I said, man, you are our future, and keep on doing the great things that you're doing. And looking forward to our next show.
Appreciate you having me on as always.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for this segment of the Legends of Inside Sports. My name is Harold Bell, and remember that every black face you see is not your brother, and every white face is not your enemy. Until next time, you can color me gone.